She's a force to be reckoned with, a great beauty inside and out, because I've always been able to tell that about her. A great voice of our industry. Welcome to the Scandalous Podcast. Kobra Paige of Kobra and the Lotus. She's putting out her own songs for now. How are you doing?
Wow, that was quite the introduction.
Good.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like we're with your painting behind you. I feel also from what I can see of you over the years and just know you to be, we're like meeting in the clouds like Greek goddesses right now. That's what it feels like.
I love that. But I've always felt that about you. Like, I've never met you before, but I've always followed you and been like, I like her. I like her. And I've always felt your vibe. And I was like, she's cool. She's a cool chick. I like her. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So quickly, I wanted to congratulate you on getting married. You took a break, you lived some life, and I bet that felt really good. How's it been so far? I love all your photos together.
Thank you. I mean, man, I just can't imagine life without him. He is part of how I'm courageous enough to keep experimenting also with my expressions and stuff. And it was great. We eloped, and then we actually waited for a couple of years until we could get the families together just so that, his mom could celebrate and get some of the people over from Sweden to Canada, see where he's moved his life. And it's been great. We went from super long distance to being super on top of each other because everyone was on top of each other in the lockdown. But we were like 1 week every 4 months for like 4.5 years. And then we went to living in an apartment like where you couldn't leave. And it was definitely an adjustment for the first 6 months because we didn't know what we were like in many ways. So to each other. And but obviously we figured it out and we're very much kindred. So yeah.
There's so many horror stories out there. So anytime I hear a good story, I'm like, yay, I want to celebrate that. And I want to talk about, like, you hear all these crazy stories. So anytime, there's a success story, it's like, let's celebrate this, talk about this. Those are awesome.
It's so nice because love is hard, as everyone knows. It's really hard, even when you're in the relationship,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got great songs about it.
Yes, we do.
And I have lots of experience about it too. Yeah, I agree. Like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. So talking about the pandemic, I also had a question about the pandemic. You kind of like took a hiatus around that time, and then the pandemic happened, and it was just a period of great reflection for all of us. So, like, what did you learn, and what did you like come away from all that time spent alone and inside your head?
For me, I was unpacking a lot of things that I buried down for a very long time and never addressed. And so I did some EMDR to work through some events, and it was pretty rocky, but it was very freeing when I got to the other side of just releasing the emotions I'd stored in my body. I also really, really came head to head with my self-hatred, I would say. And I had to really take that on. Like, why do I inside myself disempower myself so deeply, and how can I free myself? So it really was just that like recorrection of what I'm doing in my life. And it's been a really big work in progress because like the habits, they get so familiar and wired into your brain. Negative habits, negative thoughts, and beliefs. So I say like a lot of unlearning because I could see this this lack of self-compassion and a lot of self-abandonment that was not allowing me to do what I need to do in this lifetime. And so I was kind of like half letting myself be myself all the time. So I'm still working on it, but I've been realigning, just how I am, my relationship with myself in a big way, which changes everything. How I serve the world, other people, my relationships. some of the past experiences and how I was interpreting them. I am even interpreting and perceiving those memories differently with the unpacking that I've done in myself. Yeah. And a lot of experimentation. Like, I have really gone far off the deep end. Like, I went to Peru. I've been doing a lot of sacred plant ceremonies of different kinds. I've been doing various meditation styles, tried some different therapies, just really like meeting the shadow and figuring out how to work together, not against.
Well, I knew when you said EMDR therapy, it's like, oh, this is good. Because that's the real stuff. That's the
Oh my gosh.
That is, and it's such a great tool. Maddie from Memphis Mayfire, he talked about it on a podcast we did together because he had his plane almost crashed, and as soon as the plane landed, he was like walking around like a ghost for 2-3 years.
Oh my.
Feeling like he never really made it off that plane, and he had such trauma from that, and it like really fucked up his life for like a few years. And the only way he was able to get through it was EMDR therapy. And I was so excited when you mentioned that. I was like, yes, because people are walking around so hurt and so broken with like very deep, 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 deep pain. And there's a lot of tools and resources that scratch the surface, but for that really deep, heavy pain, check that out because that's such a big tool.
Absolutely.
I'm a Pisces, aka like High Priestess, and you have an album, right? Called
Yeah,
Priestess?
I do.
So do you like play around with like tarot and spirituality and spirits and things like that? I don't know. It's like there's definitely stuff in the universe.
So what I believe is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and I'm not the person that made that sentence, but that's truly to the core what I believe and feel. And so I do think everyone's spiritual, but they might not know like how they are spiritual or know how they connect. I have always been deeply in tune, I would say, with myself, and also just this sense of like connection. And I through some of my experiences that I've had also through meditation, I just think like this physical part that we see is like the smallest piece, and we just like it's so beyond what we can comprehend, in this physical like body of what's really going on and all the moving pieces and how it all works. And yeah, I grew up in quite like a spiritual home, and I would say that my parents were pretty interesting with the things that they were trying on as we were growing up, and we were always involved in those because we were the kids, so we were dragged around to everything. And there were some really cool experiences that we resonated with pieces, and as we're adults, we're figuring out what resonates for us, maybe not as much as it is for them, like, finding your own path. But I was taken to a lot of sun dances with the Indigenous people around Calgary area with my mom for quite a few years. But I've also been to Sunday school before that. And I then went through, my mom converted to Hinduism and actually brought my whole family into the rituals that came behind that. So we were taken to India numerous years in a row. To volunteer over Christmas time and sit through like the prayer. So I know a lot of mantras, but I don't know the meanings because I don't practice or pray with that form, but myself. But I have like a lot of embedded mantra into me from years of singing it. But I think it's just beautiful, and I just love to see like how people find their connection and their different strength, as long as it doesn't get to an extreme where it's disconnecting, like, which can come with a lot of religion if it goes too far, or spiritualism. I feel like it can happen even in yoga. I've seen just like,
or love those documentaries.
Yeah,
those are all of our favorite documentaries to watch.
Yeah,
that was not real.
It's like, well, like, because anything, absolutely anything can become fanatical, right? And so it's just when it crosses that line, then it becomes something else, and then that I don't think is spirituality.
So like, I grew up in the church. I stopped going to church because my family was like super high up in it, and they were kind of mean and shitty. It's like, well, that's not Christian. But I've always had my own relationship with God.
Yeah.
And I'm Christian, but I love death metal. Like, I don't do the anti-God stuff. Like, I don't mess around with that. But I think Jesus would be in a death metal show with me. You know, like, that's always been my thing, but I've always felt that. But I love everyone. And, you know, just talking about Christianity, like, I think Christians should be the most loving people in the world. So if you meet a gay person, you should be the embodiment of love, like on behalf of Christ, like for that. So I just think you should be like most loving, wonderful, like example of love to all people, like as a Christian. And unfortunately, it doesn't end up like that most of the time, or some of the time, you know. But I've always thought it's just, you know, what people do to it, which really sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I resonate with everything you just said. And like, and like straight across for like all the paths to God, or whatever people want to call that one. It's like there's endless, infinite gods if you're looking at everyone's. But we're all, you think, walking that compassionate, like that is the true purpose, at least. You would hope in that sense. Yeah. Try and come closer to that. Yeah.
So we're here to celebrate and welcome your new solo track you just released, Love What I Hate, a track we can all relate to. It's that delicious, delicious forbidden fruit. It's intoxicating, and the song really portrays that. Okay, now you describe it. Now you go.
Okay. Well, that intoxicating forbidden fruit that you can't resist is a pretty sweet description, because that is definitely what it's like, and it's just such an addiction. I still feel like the song is relating, but I don't want it to be the driver in my life. You know, that's where the issue is if that loving what you hate, that energy that's expended into the things that hurt you so much. It's like, in the comical way, it's like the hater that like is obsessed with hating on you, and they're your number one fan. It's just the same paradigm, you know?
I've never heard that thought process before. So I just wanted to celebrate that, what you just said. Everyone listen to it again. That was sorry. I had to celebrate what you just said. That was really deep and very smart. Okay, sorry about that.
No, I mean, that's essentially, that's it. There's metaphor that I heard like a little over a year ago that I also really liked, and it was about if you're building your house and then everyone is building homes around you, and you're just like staring like from your foundation, looking at what they're doing and what they're doing, and like, oh my God, well, how am I gonna get my foundation that strong? Or like, I don't have that like, that's nicer. Or, you know, I also feel like it's some of that as well. And then what happens is like there's this whole community built around you, and your house is still a foundation. And so I feel it's you know, it's just yeah, it's just bringing some attention to that, some awareness to it. Yeah.
And I think I heard it described and like talked about, and I've done a lot of work being in the position. I would say for the past 3 years, and I just got out of it. But when you give away that power, like, you're just like a piece of wood in the ocean that can be moved anyway, and like you don't have power over your own life. And you don't, like, anyone can just come in and ruin your day, and you'll be like out for 2 days, you know, just like super upset. And it can like, yeah, it can be, you know, it's not cool to give other people that much power over you, because they're in control of your life, not you. That sucks.
And also they're not thinking about you. You know what I mean? Like that's also like a lot of the time, at least, they're not thinking to the extent that you're obsessing into it and letting it dictate and take your power. But that's exactly what it is, like what you're saying. It's really that you're giving up that power and man, yeah, experiences like your whole world is like colored in a certain way as well. Like I know when the song Love What I Hate was written, I was experiencing like very deep heartbreak and I was just searching for what was wrong with me, even though it's not about that. You know, if you get beyond yourself, you know it's not about that, but it's so hard to get out of that and not live there. And it was wild because it really went on to like affect and compromise the next 2 years in a large way with just how I lived my life, how I behaved. There's another individual involved and in a way that was like not very nice. And it actually made me like scared to run into them in the industry. And I was behaving like a scared little dog, like for 2 years. And I wasn't enjoying the shows because I was scared we were going to run into each other. It was just like nuts, you know? But yeah, it took away. Like I let it take away from my life so much in that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me, okay.
See you. Yeah. Oh man.
Same. And I feel like I'm just now getting after all the things I need to get after 2-3 years ago. Like I'm just now going after things in the way that I needed to because I spent my whole time and it held me back of like showing my true full personality because
Yeah.
I was afraid of coming off as weird or strange or different or not how they would like me to be. So it held me back professionally as well of what you were just talking about. And it made me scared to do things and to go after things and worried about like what they would think.
Oh, God. I'm just so glad that you're coming out the other side. Like you're also in like a transmutation, it sounds like. And it is like the caterpillar is like becoming a butterfly. Like it's one of those moments, you know, and then it can still be hard to fly. That's what I'm finding. It's like, I'm just like, and do you find it really also, I really relate to that concept of like being worried that you're going to be perceived as weird or like not acceptable in the mold for whatever that is or what, you know, and maybe how you'll be alienated for it or whatever, you know. But then like keeping that so locked up is like so harmful for yourself. Like it's just like I even find like it makes health issues in us, you know, like just holding that all in. Because you're not living your truth like all the way, but you are who you are, but you're like a flame that's being like covered a bit, you know?
Completely covered. And I would say it was only like a week or two ago that I always thought it was me. And I always thought there was something like horribly, horribly wrong with me. Like always. I always thought that there was like something like tragically or irrevocably like fucked up with me. And that was the reason why. And it's like so recent, like even I always thought it was me. And it's like, and then like a few weeks ago that I was like, oh, I'm fine. It's not me at all. Like, and of course, like, I will say a powerful thing real quick, but I've talked about it a lot and I don't care to like stay there because fuck it. I've talked it to death. Who cares? But my family, they were the first people to teach me to hate myself. And then early on in the industry, all the judgment that I got, Scandalous is a joke given to me by like the first singer I was representing. It was a joke because I'm not scandalous. So being named Scandalous, I've always, people perceive certain things about you that aren't true at all. So the validity and how far you can go and things like that is always like up in the air, which is why I recently added my name to my Instagram like a few months ago. So yeah, for sure. I've always struggled with perception of how I'm perceived and like what I'm doing. And like I'm put on this earth to do interviews and I love connecting with artists and I love music. And it's my passion. I'm fucking good at it and I love doing it. And I've done some pretty cool things in my life. Whatever. But yes, like girl to girl in the industry. But hell yes, have I not struggled with how I think about myself and being insecure about how I'm perceived by other people in the industry. But honestly, none of it was ever true. And no one ever thought those things about me. Like a few people said some nasty things to me here and there. But I've been carrying around this whole thing, with me for years that was never fucking true. And no one ever thought that about me. And the things that like, I'll talk about my insecurities like now and then to like very close friends of mine in the industry. And they're like, no, what are you talking about? And I've come to the conclusion recently, it was never true. No one ever thought those things about me. I'm fine and I can fucking do anything.
That's amazing. I want to like give you an applause for that because it's like empowering and inspiring to hear you expressing that you've actually gotten to that place, because it's so hard to even if you start to have this thought in your mind, like I know this isn't true. It's really hard though for you to like step into that, like for a person to step into that. I just know for myself, like I'm still fighting to get out of my beliefs of what I think people think. And so I relate deeply to what you're saying. And I just think that this is this is the life-changing stuff is what you are experiencing right now. It's going to change. I already thought you were just like on fire and just you're the brightest light, and there was no hiding that, like your shine and just like your strength and kindness, like all in one. Like you're like a badass that's like is compassionate. That's what I was getting from you. So it's just interesting also to hear like the real struggles in the process of also what's like happening behind there, because I think also like people would never imagine when they see someone that they perceive to be empowered. Like I perceive you to be like a person that would have never ever like bought into that shit, in the past. And
yeah, but it's funny to be like, oh no, she believed all of it.
Yeah. But here you are though, you're like actually on that other side. And so what was it like that really like got you to the other side? I mean, you said that you feedback that was coming in like basically the more mass amounts was like all not in support of this one little peanut gallery like feedback, like and that was like, am I interpreting that right? Like
yeah, totally.
The people that really know you, it was consistent.
Yeah. So I got really obsessed about it. And I talked to all of my girlfriends. I went and like I talked about it for like month and a half or whatever. And everyone I told that to, they just like they started laughing. And they said, no, that's not true at all. But spending time away from the negative feedback and being on my own and dating and having new experiences totally gave me the strength to be like, oh, okay, I'm fine. And the last one that did it, I talked to the manager of one of the biggest bands in the world in our industry. And we talked for like 4 or 5 hours. And I told him like everything. It's like last week was my last little insecure campaign that I told him this, and I was like, but what about this? What about this? What about this? And he was like, wow, like what you built is really great, and I love your brand, and no one thinks this about you, and I love what you built, and you're killing it. And it was just, honestly, it was all of my friends in my life just giving me like, no, that's not true. Giving me love, giving me love, giving me love. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It was just the massive amount of love I got from my personal friends who actually know me. I reached out to like my close guy friends in the industry and talked to them because I was wondering about like, do I see myself? Like, how am I perceived? So I talked to like my close friends that really fucking know me that I hang out with all the time. I asked my close friends, and then I had some really fucking big people, like a mutual manager in the industry, like 4 or 5 days ago, like spend like 5-6 hours talking to me.
Yeah.
So I wish, and I've done a lot of work, and my favorite, Erin Dowdy, I'm an empath. So when you have no boundaries as an empath, anyone can come in and fucking wreck you. And Erin Dowdy calls it being in your frame. And if you're in your frame, you're unfuckable. And I've had points in my life where I had a better boundaries. I would say like a year and a half, 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever. He really helped me with like being in your frame and boundaries. And I really recommend watching his videos on YouTube because it's like free therapy. They're so good. Yeah, just to be honest about it, I wish the story was, I got all my power from inside, but actually it was just the love of the people around me that got me through it, to be totally honest about it. Because you asked like how I literally got over it. And I was like, okay, literally it was all the kind of people in my life. I wish I could have, that strength would have come from inside, but a combo of their strength, I was able to find my strength again.
I do think that it can be super powerful though to like hear the truth like coming in such a compelling and big like tidal wave of a way where it's like, no, this is the reflection, you're seeing that they're seeing from you. So I think it's super powerful. I was just curious, that might be like what will help other people. I struggle with even, I can't believe what I'm hearing because I can't get past my own beliefs. So it's like, that's the hook is still there, but I'm trying to figure out how to unhook that because it's not accurate to, the reflections of my close people, and also even just like the quality of people. Like my husband is a really good husband, and I can't be that bad if he's committed like he is to me, but it's like just it's the breaking this like freaking like broken record that doesn't belong there, and the lies. I don't know, it's insane how it just becomes your truth somehow inside. Yeah
Absolutely. Well, and I think maybe like something positive to take away from what we're talking about is talking about it to other people opens you up to a conversation about it, and talking about it can also help instead of just keeping all these things inside and then someone would be like, oh, hey, you're against this or something. I'd be like, oh, wow, that's funny. Thanks. But I think kind of what we're talking about and something positive you can take away from it is, okay, great. If you talk about these things that you're feeling with your close personal friends, and then that kind of, opens up the gateway, to maybe,
absolutely.
And one other thing I want to say, and then we'll make it a music podcast again. Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe. But another thing, I have always had a superpower, and I'm sitting on this couch right now, and I'll talk about it because I think it's a really cool thing, and I talk about it with my friends, and I think it's fucking awesome. So I want to say it now. So, and could work for some of your cadence as well. I'm sitting on this couch right now. I'm so angry. I'm so fucking mad. I can't believe that happened. I'm so mad about it. And you want to know why that makes me mad? It makes me so mad. I'm sitting on this couch. But by the time I get up off this couch, I'm going to go have a good day. And my cortisol levels are going to be fine. And I'm not going to be pissed. I'm just going to be relaxed and chilled. And I swear, as soon as I get up from this couch, I'm not going to be angry anymore. When I get up from the couch, I'm not angry anymore. So and I had a friend that I had to let go of recently. And
that's always hard and painful.
But so much so, and it breaks my heart. But the reason I had to let go of her was because, I went through a hard time. She went through a hard time. But she was actively, like, after a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, she was actively doing things to make it worse. So we had deep pain, but staying in it is not, you can't stay in it. And if where you are sucks, don't stay there. Like, and you can't, like, if you have this deep, this is my story, this is my pattern, I'm going to keep reliving it over and over again. You can't stay there. You have to get up. You have to, okay, I've carried this weight of feeling this way my whole life about this, but you know what? I don't have to carry it with me for the next year or 2 years, like the rest of my life. This feeling of not being good enough, is just, I think we all struggle with that.
Yeah.
I felt like that my whole life. And yes, that is my cross to bear, and that has been my cross to bear. But you know what? I can let that go right now and just go have a great life. Because who wants to carry all that around? Like, I'm 35. I've given up the first 35 years of my life. I would not like to carry it with me till I'm 70 or 80 or whatever. That would suck. So it'd be great if I could just let go of that now. That'd be fucking great. I just don't. There are different levels of trauma, so it's like irresponsible to talk about it blanketly.
No. But I think it's what you're saying. It's the truth. Sometimes it takes a lot of fighting and a lot of trying to find the right thing to help you work to figure out how to move out of the pain and into different levels and but you have to fight for it also. And you have to fight for it. I think anyone that makes it out of their pain had to fight for it in some sort of way. You have to say, like, I'm not having this. This is not, like you said, the 35 years of your life. Like, I just turned 35 a few weeks ago. And I just like, oh my God, like, are you speaking to me? Like but that is it. Me and Tommy, we talk about that often. We're like, life is not, it's short. Like, time is flying by. Like, and we are so much more, we're not trying to survive for our basic needs. We like, all the things are out here when we really put the problems out right now. And it's like, how can we embrace the life we have and not let this keep getting in the way?
Yeah, like, that's my prayer for myself, and that's my prayer for you and anyone else who's listening. That, like, it would be really great. Like, most people have these, like, great pains in their life, and I wish it for all of us that we just would not carry those to us for our lives. We would be able to let them go someday.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everyone that's going to hear this too. I love your couch tactic, by the way. I think that's oh, but that's really good. Like, I was thinking while you did that, I'm like, man, like, you could be a life coach. Or like, you could actually really.
I've thought about it, and I think it's something I want to get into in the next year.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I think something so powerful about life too is letting go. Like, I had a friendship of 10 years, so I thought I would be friends with for the rest of my life. And surviving after that friendship was gone was easy because of all the bad, like, there were bad things about that relationship. So there's just so much. One thing I would love to coach people on or help people with is leaving toxic friendships behind. Like, even friendships, there's like,
yes.
So many bad friendships, and they can just bring some shit into your life, and letting go of them can be so fucking great.
Absolutely. Yeah. a big shift like over the last 3 years, like when I basically essentially was like not on the road anymore because my life was really from the past. And everyone moved on to have their own lives, but and different friend groups and everything. But mine was like a really small world because I just come home and I didn't meet many people while I was on the road. I just mostly guys that I was, surrounded by. And I yeah, there were definitely for both of us like relationships that weren't serving either of us, probably in a positive way. And while I've had more separation from it, it's really I found like it really painful. Like the first time I ever like had the friendship separation, because I never experienced it before. And it's like, man, this really I thought about them so much, and like I still feel a lot of love for these people. But I was thinking about ways that like, yes, if there's a relationship that was very, very quite harmful, like most of the time to me, my self-esteem, whatever. But then I was thinking about me and I'm like, but like I also was like, I bring my own toxicity into it and just knowing what that is. Like, what was I also enabling and supporting? What was I, Um, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's another powerful thing is I think a great transition would be I do love to talk about style. It's another form of art. We talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
your fabulous rocker but Chanel looking jacket and your Spotify artist photo. I love that photo. That photo is incredible. I love that photo. Can we talk about it?
Oh my gosh. Yes, this excites me so much because actually, so speaking of like, yeah, I was trying. I I was like actually I've had like some not so nice like commenting over the years about how I have gone outside of the realm of like spikes and black. And yeah,
Sorry.
it's
Wait.
that's been part of also this solo record for me is that I am really wild and eccentric and colorful in many ways with my insides. That's how I feel. So I started to just go for it, like especially in 2018, and I started to shift like the outfits I was designing. I love to collaborate with people and make designs. I don't sew, but I work with people that do make clothes, and then yeah, we come up with what I want to be in. So that jacket actually was inspired by this oversized biker jacket that was with a kilt on one of the Victoria's Secret fashion shows. And I thought, you know what, let's like take the oversize but I want it to be white. Let's make it beautiful. And yeah, like you said, like very couture. Like I want it to be like couture fashion. It's like I call it rock and roll royalty is like what I'm making. And a lot of my clothes I'm trying to incorporate just like these really like feminine details, but then bring like the rock and roll era of like Michael Jackson and Prince kind of, but make it for me. And so I've had a lot of creations that have just and so that's one piece, and that jacket weighs like I don't know 25 pounds. It's very heavy. Yeah. And I also have this other outfit. Oh, I'd love to show you it. It's I haven't like
We can
put
wait for you to go get it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, go get it. Yay.
Because this is wow. That
Oh my God. See, the photo didn't do it justice.
no, it's amazing, and it has movement for like if I perform in it. So
Wow. I'm speechless.
yeah,
I
it
love pearls. I love chains. I love sparkle. You've got like a tiny bit of spike for fun.
yeah,
Beading on that.
but it's like angel edgy and very like you got your little bit of captain inspiration and Cobra.
Oh my God.
Wow. So
So beautiful.
it's like long on me. So you can wear like high boots and like a body outfit or something, or you can wear whatever. But
I mean, I look at that. Isn't that just like everything you would ever want to be?
I know, like wake up in this and be like,
Yes. That's all. That jacket is like all I would ever want to be in life. I love that jacket.
that's awesome. Well,
It's a whole feeling. Thank you so much for showing us that jacket.
well,
That's incredible.
and I'll show you one more.
Yes, please do.
And see that, but I have done some stuff in it.
Okay.
I did this little series I'm gonna put out about creativity and the album and stuff, but this is another one, and it has the jewelry built into it. So, oh, that's tangled, but when it's hanging on me,
See, it's like royalty. It's my favorite.
yeah, and gold, which you love.
Yes,
Oh.
gold and pearls.
You got like the
Yes.
cat's patches, but in a female way.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Strength and
anyone's way.
Well,
But-
it's the strength of Queen Elizabeth with a delicate color. It's a delicate but powerful color.
Exactly.
Yeah. The way it hangs is the way that royalty hangs their capes. So it's got the regal royal, and then it's got the sparkle, and then it's got the softness of the pearls.
And then the skirt was actually supposed to be like a little bit kawaii, but still keeping in theme with the royal. So that's on the wrong side here, but besides,
That's
so it's amazing in person, but actually
yes,
it goes through the side there. So
yeah,
scandalous, but like
fantastic.
rocking. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. I am stoked that you noticed because I put a lot of effort into these outfits.
Well,
And
that's like my favorite style. Is
That's cool.
girly but fabulous, but classy and stunning. Like I have like a few Chanel bags, and like I can't wait to like walk my Chanel bags on Headbangers Boat, like the big heavy metal cruise. Metalheads, and a big part of like my platform is like metalheads aren't just like hot topic kids. We're heart surgeons. Like I'm friends with heart surgeons, politicians, we're metalheads, like everyone on Instagram. And metal is like more mainstream than just this and just skulls and crossbones and spikes. And I've always been like pearls and lipstick and this, whatever, because I've never been skulls. And it goes into the way metalheads are perceived by society, which is bullshit. In every movie, like we're always the fucking serial killers who are about to murder you. We're always like in the troll movie, like they play metal, but then they have like the fucking weird troll over there. Like why can't you play metal and just have like the cute troll listen to metal? Like why does it have to be like the fucking weird troll in every movie? And it's just the way that I've always I love my fashion. Like everything is some Chanel.
I love hearing that because so here it comes back to how things can like define how you do represent yourself and how much you're willing to share, and then you become fearful. So I'm gonna
And you get paralyzed, and then you just don't do anything. Sorry, just had to say.
no, but exactly. So to just be like a counter story to that story. What do you think about this? I have actually experienced being really bullied in metal. And so I've had a very hard, so I have not, I felt really unsafe, to be honest, like in a lot of circumstances, to be my colorful self or to be different outside of that Yeah.
Yep. So I've been very lucky to only have like one bad thing happen to me. I don't get a lot of it. Most people are really nice, but I've definitely been not so much bullied, but sometimes you can't be in a room without people noticing you for better or for worse. So it can go either way. And you're super beautiful in metal. So you just being in a room, like even when you don't want to be controversial because you're super beautiful, it is kind of controversial that you're a beautiful woman that can sing, that has that power. And because you have that power, if you were in a room, you're going to be like, and most of the time, like, I don't want the attention that I get or something like that, but you feel the eyes on you and shit like that. It's just true. So for you, I totally know what you're talking about. And I understand that because sometimes if you're powerful and in a room, you're going to get attention if you want that attention or not. And because of whoever the person is that's perceiving that power, it can be good or bad based on who they are as people. And there's not always good people.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No,
I don't know. I don't know. That's
no,
my experience. What's your experience? But I know metals like, and sometimes people just fuck with you. Metal Saunas used to post a lot about the horror stories that happened to her, and a lot of the shit that has happened to her has happened to me as well. So there's bullying and metal is fucking real.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is absolutely real. That's, so like I have not really felt like I have not had actually a lot of experiences where I feel welcome or safe. And I don't I just like it's just it's not a place for people that don't like for everybody that feels like they don't fit in. Like I think there's also a storyline that lives out there that it is maybe a community and genre that is for, let's say, people that don't feel like they belong or something, like that you can belong here. And I've had a lot of the opposite experiences. But I know that it's also, though, a very wonderful, like it's a wonderful community for many, many people, millions, however many are in it, like you're in there too. But I have, like part of in 2020, some of the stuff I also had to work through was that I didn't want to be in the music industry anymore because I had just experienced so much bullying in like the 15 years. And it was really, really like eating me alive. I was just like, um, so full of fear and not able to let myself shine fully because I was trying to protect myself, but then I couldn't be who I was supposed to be on stage. So not to go into any details because I don't think it's necessary, but I it was a really rough journey that way for me. And I've been had my safety threatened many times when I started playing shows in the underground as a teenager. It was very clear to me that I wasn't welcome. And I didn't know if I was going to be beaten up. People tried to take me off the stage like while I'd be playing and wipe me out. And I had a hate page go up with all these people in Calgary I never met, directed at me on Facebook. And I was like terrified all the time, but I wanted to just be a kid that was in a band. So I just kept doing that, but it was really hard on me and my confidence. And my courage, because there's some people that get really fired up over being pushed and it motivates them. For me, I've always had a pattern since junior high. It's a lot of people, bullying is not like it happens to. Probably the majority have experienced some form. But like it always stays with you, like, and you pick things up of how you cope with that. And so, and then I've had it inside the industry as well, and just like some very malicious things that I couldn't even believe it, like, but or like the people I supported, but then finding out what their intentions and wishes really were for me were so ill. They were hoping I would wrap it up with the band. They didn't want me going forward at all or succeeding, and the way they let me know was not kind, you know? And it's like I just supported that person, or so it's just it's been, I think that's also why I started to pull into rock as well, because I needed to, well, first of all, I'm like, I like a lot of different music. So as I've grown up and become like a woman, I've needed to express in many more ways. And I didn't want to like compromise the integrity of my band's project. So another project was necessary for me eventually to express in separately. But I also was just feeling like I was getting like really picked on and isolated and antagonized for not fitting the mold.
Do you mind
And I just
sharing?
wanted to be left alone and be myself.
Do you mind sharing like one or two things? Because like Metal Saunas has, and like when she shared about things that happened to her, they've literally happened to me. And maybe we can be like encouraging for other women or something. Do you want to? And I guarantee you I had the same experience. So I want you to feel like it's safe.
Yeah.
But I think this is something like people don't talk about. And I've had Alicia Taylor on the podcast a lot, and her and I are like fucking soul sisters. And she like TMs for them, and she books all their stuff and she does all their stuff. But like, would you know that like she has a fake email that's like brad@cherrybombsofficial.com? Because if she uses Alicia@cherrybombsofficial.com, venues won't respond to her.
Oh God.
And I just feel like it's important to talk about. It is. And like she like for her act, like she needs to like know the stage size, like for all of her aerial acts and her dancers. She like has to like, okay, it's in our rider that you have a crane. Do you have this crane? Does it have this specifications that, you agree to? Just like she needs to know. And a lot of times she has to use a named email coming from a man to get a response instead of a woman. And I just feel like people don't know about this shit. And I like talking about it because I like exposing it. And it's also freeing. And I think I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of fucking important to talk about. Is there like one or two things you can talk about to just expose it? Because I feel like it is important to talk about.
I just like,
and if you don't want to, it's really safe too.
With bullying, like it's better that I just like what I shared in a generalized way, because I don't want to air my dirty laundry, and I don't want to be calling names,
Yeah.
Because we run in the same circles, like, yeah. And I know that everyone has their reasons for behaving a certain way, but that thing with the Brad email, that's like a whole other thing, is just like the misogyny that still is existing. That is definitely something that, yeah, I remember I did this interview, and I thought that like the other singers were going to touch on that, and then I did my interview, and then they were all put together, so we didn't know what anyone else said. But like, I remember I was like surprised because I was the only one that was talking about like still like thinking it was very difficult to be a woman in some cases, and just like the crap that has happened and wouldn't have happened if it was a man. Like Tommy has dealt with like 5% of the things that I've had to deal with in the way of being a woman. And it's frustrating for sure, because it is still a real thing. And I have all of these like stories in my head, but it's like, again, like I don't want to speak about people, you know? But
Well, and that's very smart and that's very true. And like the one big bad thing that happened to me in the industry, I'll never say who because I'm bigger. So I think you're smart and I agree with it. But like the one bad thing that like happened to me, I don't like, I'm more than that. My life is bigger than that. So I agree and I appreciate and I celebrate you. You're like going like, no, I can't because like I will never name names it's because I'm bigger than that and I don't want to be known for that. So yes,
exactly.
like
And
I'm
like,
bigger and the work that we do is bigger than this shit over here. So I
yeah,
support you in that.
it's like nobody knows what happens in bands. Like that's the other thing. People see like something happen, like someone's not in the band anymore, and then they come to their own conclusions. But you either like you can see what happens when people start airing the story online, and then it just becomes like I don't know. It's not.
Then you're not
Never,
known
you'll
for
never
like the
find
beautiful
me.
work.
Yeah, exactly. You'll never. I'm just. It's just not. I don't know. I don't even think it would help me either. Honestly,
Yeah,
be doing that. You know.
totally. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, and I support you and I agree with that. And no, because that's all you'll ever be known for.
Yeah.
And
All we need to know is I've experienced being bullied by people in my industry. I've experienced being bullied in the underground when I started. And it's been like just a test of resilience all the time to just keep breaking through and having the courage to be myself and also not listen to it. Like I remember someone like said something really shitty to me and I had always gone to their shows, bought their merch, wouldn't even go on the guest list, bought their ticket because we come up together. I just like I know how it is because I have had a band and I've just been nothing but supportive and just encouraging and I had no idea that they were really wishing for me to fall on my face so badly and upset that I was getting the tours that we got or whatever. And it really came to fruition in 2020 through something. Um, and I, my first thought was like, well, it wasn't well in 2020. So it wasn't a good time to receive that because I was already just mentally unwell at that time. But I actually watched like a shitload of RuPaul's Drag Race at that time. And I was like, if they can get through this, like, and look what they're up against. I was like, they're fucking slaying. And I was like, and look at that strut, like walk. And I'm like, okay, we can fucking do this. And then I got on my feet and I just like, and I did like, I was trying to pay the bills back for all the merch and CDs that I had ordered from Napalm. And no one went on tour in 2020 and we just did one American tour. So I had all this inventory, which still have a lot of inventory, but I sold enough to pay back the bill. Cause one thing I struggle with is I feel better if I give someone something for what they're giving me. And it has to feel like meaningful exchange to me. So I was like, hey, I'm going to tell our fans that I need help with this, but they don't have to buy anything if they don't want to. But like, here's the evolution stuff and it's not coming to the rest of the world. So, and they really stepped up, like this small and mighty group of people, just like, we're like, you know, getting the merch and it came together. I need lyric art. And yeah, I just like got back on my feet and cranked all the drag seasons one after another and worked while I had like RuPaul playing in the background. Yeah.
And how powerful is that? That, like, I love that you've survived and you got back on your feet because, like, anytime you can get back on your feet from, like, not being in a great spot, you're like, oh, fuck, you know, and anytime you can get yourself out of it, fuck yeah, you got yourself out of it, you know, and, like, that's such a powerful thing to, like, know that, like, I'm capable and, like, I can overcome hardships. That's huge.
It
You
is.
did that. Good job. Like,
Thank you.
fucking did that. Good job.
Thank you. Maybe like something that is relatable, but like this is just like not a name game for this at all, but something that I think is interesting, at least from my experience, and I am not alone in this, I know I'm not, is that I think from the outside, it looks like all women support women. And that has not been the truth that I've experienced. There are many women that are very supportive and amazing, like yourself, and there are many of them, but there are also many that even stand on a platform of supporting women, but can be very mean to women if it's not in their clique or whatever. And I have definitely been on the outside of some things where I've just been like, this is nuts. Like they're doing wonderful things in the world. This is not defining them, but like people probably think we're friends because we're in the same puddle, but they don't know like what this person has done towards me, or how they're behaving. And I find like there's a lot of there can be like maliciousness and cattiness. And so I've also had some of that. I think it's interesting. There's both sides. There's wonderfulness, and then there's like really nasty. Really nasty with like a really good face out there,
Yeah. And when you were talking about that, I was envisioning one woman that I kind of have the same relationship with and started off strong as friends. And now she watches me and I know she doesn't watch me from a good place. And it's, I don't know, I have this strong, overwhelming feeling like we're talking about the same person I know. But it's very true.
Well, I've had some really passive aggressive stuff as well, or sabotage movement, like they've tried to sabotage. But
well, it's because people don't tear down things that aren't like brilliant and shiny and beautiful. Like if you weren't so talented and if you weren't so soulful and successful and didn't have such incredible music, they wouldn't have the insecurity to like try and if you sucked, they wouldn't care. But you're great, so they care.
For some things like that, I really, for sure, it's that like it just like scarcity is hard. It makes, and like I have scarcity too in my own ways, but it's like how do people act on it? How does it come out? But yeah, because like it's like all the time I'm like, man, like to me, from my perspective, there's so much room. There's so much music. Everything could be seen as saturated. And that goes for any industry, podcasts, whatever. But I don't actually believe that. I think like if you're your own thing, like and you're being you, there's space. There is always space for more things. So
there is, and I'm super there is. I wake up as a new person every single day. And I've been listening to your songs and your music, and it's been striking a chord with me in certain ways that, like, Halsey got me through the last 3 years.
Oh, and Halsey. Amazing.
All I, like, God, if you watch any of my stories for, like, 2 years ago, all I would do on the weekends is sit in the bathtub and cry and Insta story Halsey songs for hours. And like on my Battle page, I would just like Insta story a Halsey song. But then like I got such strength through Paris Paloma. Do you know who she is?
No.
Strength in stepping outside of metal, and she's like folksy, but she's got the attitude of Alanis and the strength of the music. And like her song Labor gave me the strength to leave that past 3 year shitty thing I was in. It was the thing that gave me the strength to leave. And I've been listening to her music nonstop. But even like waking up today and listening to your music, I really resonated with your music because I felt a certain way. And we wake up every single day as different people. So there are songs for every day of your life. Even though like, we're not oversaturated. I've been so obsessed with like Paris and Halsey and CIL, Sil or something like that. She's of this other, so I'm like ingratiated with like female beautiful music, but there is room because I was listening to yours and I felt something completely different and it felt great. So yes, you're doing for all of it. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Let's make a music podcast again. Okay. I want to revisit each album and what was going on in your life during that time, how you felt. And then I'm going to talk about a few songs of yours that I really resonate with. Do you like that?
Yeah,
Is
that
that
sounds
okay?
great. I love that. Yeah.
Great. I think it's a great, fun way to just talk about history of the band. So, Out of the Pit, first one.
Oh my God. All right. Out of the pit. Let's go.
Great reaction. Okay, so what was going on in your life? How did you feel? What were you thinking? Like,
Holy smokes. It's funny, because this is a long time ago. Like the first songs were starting to be written when I was 17. So we're talking like 15, like 18 years ago. It's when that started. And then the songs that came on Out of the Pit, like the band that was forming at that time, had several different names, like, because we were just like playing, and like, but I think that's a testament to the fact that if you listen to the music, like you can hear, like, we were really into like the big four. I was really into glam metal in high school. So I liked Sebastian Bach and Skid Row at that era. And, I loved Motley Crue when I was in high school. I was like teasing my hair, wearing biker gloves every day, like they didn't come off. And that's also why my voice was manipulated to like sound different, because I was really loving the seduction of like the 80s era of decadence, and I wanted to be part of it, but obviously that wasn't going to happen. Like it was like 2000s. But so a lot of sound like came in there. It's like you can hear that there's like little bits that are coming together that are going to make what Kobra and Lotus starts to become. Like you can hear there's a little bit of guitar harmony, but it's very simple. So you've got like a little bit of Maiden in there, like classic metal, whatever. And then there was way more solos on the first version of that before we actually had this other artist from Canada produce, I guess, us. It was like a baby, thing. And he cut out like half the solos, which is hard to believe because I still think there's like this overcompensation of like shredding that's not even like sensible
not necessary
at all.
Yeah.
Like it was literally
for no reason.
playing whatever. Yeah. But we were just having fun. But I was still trying to like have a voice and have messages in the songs. And I was writing in a way that would not be the way I would write today. I wouldn't choose to have a song called Hooker. But I was trying to write about just the darknesses of humanity, like the seduction that all these things can do to pull your ego out in big unhelpful ways. I had like a depth, but it was written way more campy. Yeah. So that's Out of the Pit. And Out of the Pit was like getting yourself out of the pit, but it's like more like, yeah, just like it's kind of punk attitude behind it, just kids like having a band, trying to make some music. Yeah.
Well, I wish we could watch that movie, but since there's not a movie, we can just listen to the album.
Snake Pit. You know what's interesting? Snake Pit has a video. My sister filmed it, and Ride Like Sugar has a video. The Snake Pit has a video, and Ride Like Sugar have a video, and there's something else that has a video. There's 3 music videos. And when I was in my late 20s, I decided that I was embarrassed of them, and I actually pulled them off YouTube. But I think I'd like to put them back up because now I'm obviously in a different place. Like that's part of me. That was a different era, and I'm proud of it. I don't reject it anymore. But I was going through really like got to safeguard myself. Don't let anybody find this, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand that feeling. Yeah, that is well. And then we have Kobra and the Lotus, the self-titled.
Yeah. So I used to be also heavily involved with writing the guitars as well in the beginning. I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to take it a little more metal, ditch the glam, and make it like a little more organized, try to make it into a sound. And so I wrote Welcome to My Funeral as an example to show the guys of where I wanted to take the sound. And yeah, then they went with it. We wrote more songs. I can't remember what's on that album, but completely. But that was a really interesting time. A lot of things happened with that album. It was the first time that I was approached for a record deal, and it was a very unsuspecting party. It was because me and my mom for years were like hounding the A&R rep at Universal who played bass for Avril Lavigne, and he liked alternative music, which Universal Canada didn't really have a lot of because it's not very much of a hit situation. So finally he came out like to like Music Canada. I haven't played that in a long time. I think it's called Music Week, something like that. But it's just like artists playing to like many of them to two people in whatever little like venues everywhere in Toronto all at the same time, and you're just like hoping someone is coming by that can do anything for you in the industry. And we were playing it every year and always trying to get him to see us when we were in Toronto, and he did come out and see us, and we were doing some kind of like after party show, and it was a fun packed little venue night. It was yeah, so he introduced us actually to I don't even know if I want to bring this up because I feel like I just got out of the grips of this. It took a lot of effort because he has a lot of love and hate. Gene got involved because he had Simmons Records with Universal. And then I was like direct in contact with him, and it was really interesting, and it was fun in some ways, but also very interesting in others. A lot happened during that. We went to Vegas and worked with a different producer to ditch all the slower songs on that record and make the whole thing more upbeat. But some cool stuff came out of that, like 50 Shades of Evil and like songs like that. And on that second like rewrite essentially, and then it was mixed again by Kevin, and that was the first time we started doing European tours, festivals during that summer. It was really fun, and yeah, it was just wild. I went and like got dreadlocks after a breakup, and was told like promptly by Universal, we didn't sign you with dreadlocks. This is not the brand. So you gotta change your hair back. But I like totally fucked my hair up because I thought I was at least gonna have them for a few years after all that effort. And so I had this like little like soccer mom bob. And so I tried out like all these different extensions at the time, like a sewed on like toupee with long hair with like it was yeah, interesting. So
Yep. Yeah, I used to brag. I had fire engine red hair for 3 years. So I did it because I loved Heidi from Butcher Baby's hair.
yeah.
So I like as soon as I restarted my life over and started my own business and was working for myself because I could never have hair like that. And I went and showed the lady like Heidi's red hair. And I was like, I want Heidi hair. Give me that. And then I used to brag to people, and I'd go around and be like, I do my own hair for $20, less than 20 a month, because I would bleach my own hair and I would do the color.
Wow. Woo.
Wait, hold on. Actually, it's really good. Let me show you. Let me show you a photo. Like, I still have it, like my first fave photo. Hold on. I just screened. It's such a good look out of it. Let me see. Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
Sorry. Yeah. So I loved it. But anyways, I used to joke and be like, ha ha ha. I do my hair for, because I'll do it myself and dye. And then one day it all broke off. And then I had and I had like weird long pieces in the back, no hair in the back, strings on the side. And I was trying to figure it out. And that was right when I launched Scandalous as a brand, is right when I lost my hair. So I had to like do wigs when I first started doing interviews, and that sucked. And I thought it kind of worked, but it really didn't at all. Well, yeah. So then I found dream catcher extensions, and those were good. But yeah, I have a funny hair story too. Hair stories.
Yeah, well, and like it's really, yeah, so I have something that goes in line with this that I brought today, because a funny thing is like with the coloring, even if you get it professionally done, if you mess around too much, you start to just have broken hair, right?
Yep.
Like I went like silver, then lilac in 2019, then I went back to where they hand painted all the lowlights and stuff back in, and it was like very damaging. And then you have extensions for too long on tour, it's all and then I was like, okay, I'm leaving it alone, over COVID. 2021 comes around, I'm like, I'm so bored with letting my little mousy hair grow out. Like, it's broken and fine, and I have it like cut here and then like go like Marilyn Monroe platinum, so like fry it again. And then I'm like, it's not enough. I want to open my throat chakra. Let's dye it blue. Because I love Halsey's blue hair.
Yes.
Like, yeah, we're like, and I have blue all around me, like blue crystal, just for this, And
Yes.
so then after it started going sea green, and I was like, I hate that phase. I don't like that you have to upkeep it so much. And I don't like when my hair personally is ununiform color, like with colors. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I had a bog hair color as I was trying to let it fade like for like a month. It was so bad. And then I had it hand painted again, like for like 6 hours. She put in all the low lights, my roots, and like faked it. And then that's what my hair has been growing out from still the last like year and a half. So now I'm building this epic real hair wig collection, so that when I want to express things differently, I'm going to wear wigs. And I've done it in like one of the music videos. I have like hot pink so that I don't, because I've also colored my hair pink. And I'm like, I'm just going to try to cool it for a bit. And it looked great in the video, but this is my blue wig now. And I thought you could name it.
Oh, I love. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful with like your face and your coloring. That's such a perfect color.
Thank you.
I'm terrible with names. We'd have to call my sister. I can't name anything ever. My sister's named all my pets. I'm terrible with names.
Okay, that's fine.
But can I, like, I'm so bad at them. I don't want to fail. I don't even want to try because I'm so bad at it.
That's okay.
It's beautiful. I love that look though. That look is fantastic. But I always want to go back red to where I was, but I also just like don't hair. And it's so expensive. It's so much money.
It is
so much money, and it's like I just don't want to wear my hair. It's fine.
Yeah, and the painful process of repairing it and growing it again, because your hair is amazing right now. Like, it looks like it's like long, thick, and yeah,
it's super thick. And I didn't learn about Bond Builder until all my hair broke off one day,
like Olaplex and stuff.
Yeah, and then I learned about Bond Builder, and then I was like, oh.
You know what?
And it's just funny to me that I didn't know about any of it. I love that wig though, but I miss color too. I really do.
I know. Well, you still get the urges, right? To like want to just have that fun, like something new.
Yeah, it was funny. When Heidi had green hair for a while, she did a fan contest like on her social media, like pick my hair color. And they picked like green. So she had green for a long time. But that was so funny that she like let them pick. She did. And then she was like,
that's amazing.
Shit. But she did it. Yeah. But when she wasn't happy when she first found out the color, and then she was like, but then she was like, whatever, it turned out fine. But
next time, like, this is selection. It's like, should I dye my this to this? But at least, like,
yeah. No,
she pulled it off epically because she colors her hair like so perfectly, you know, whatever the shade.
She does. So good for her, but just laughing about funny hair stories.
Yeah.
Sure very, very fun.
I don't think I'm brave enough to leave that in the hands of anyone else. That's for sure. Yeah, really brave. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you talked about actually like being in control of guitars and taking like control of like, hey, I want more structure to it. And I didn't ask it earlier. I kind of like nixed this question off because we were talking about so many other things. But your voice is so powerful and it's like decisionally. I think you feel like the most like vocally trained or proper or precise. And it's like powerful and passionate. But you have such a powerful, precise voice. Do you know what I'm talking about in the way that you sing?
Wow. I mean, well, thank you.
And it's really beautiful. Like number one, I want to lead with it's beautiful. It is such a beautiful, like you're a goddess of our industry, and you have such a beautiful voice.
Wow.
So I don't want to lose any of the.
I need to take that in. Thank you.
You do. It's powerful and it's uplifting, and it is like a prize to be held. The beauty and etherealness and sexiness, and it's powerful, but it's just so beautiful. So I didn't want to lose that as well. I didn't want to just call your voice precise. So you have the best voice in the world.
Oh my God. Thank you. Wow. You know, I think that, you know, like how people don't like hearing themselves talk. Yeah. It's, I think a weird thing, like the relationship with your voice, you know? Because Tommy, my husband, is a singer as well. We speak about this all the time. Like it's hard to see like how your voice is being perceived from your own perspective, like to embrace it. And but at the same time, like that just, wow. Well, thank you very much. That's like an amazing compliment. And I'm going to try to really like take that one in because oftentimes I have judged myself because I don't have a what do you call it? Like a husky, like an edgy, cracky voice at all. It's like pretty clean.
You mean, yeah, it's not like the raspy gurgle, like growl kind of thing. It's ethereal.
Yeah. Or even like just having that edge that can be in rock singers' voices, you know, like my voice, I have not worked on fry and I don't have fry naturally. Some people do have that, you know, and it's not my sound. So just like but I do spend a lot of time like playing with how I can express what I'm expressing with different dynamics to just make it more like emotive, you know, with my voice. So people have asked when me and Tommy are going to do a song together, you know? And the funny thing for me and Tommy is that he has like the craziest, smoothest runs. He, you know, he's just like Mariah Carey, like in metal and rock. And it's just, and he can't even hold them back. It's like now it's part of his sound. And so when we're singing, I'm like, I don't like, how are we going to sing together? Because I can't keep up with the runs. My voice, I didn't train it like that. And I don't work that way. You know, it's not how I sound. We'll figure it out, of course, but it's just like kind of a running joke for us. We've tried to sing together, like randomly, just like with nothing around, just like sing two lines, like you sing this harmony and you sing that. And I'm like, you can't do that, you know?
I would say to that as a fan and like an active, like I've been listening to so much, like I'm either death metal or folk like every day. And there are like some songs that have like I listen to like, I'll listen to like 2-3 songs 99% of the time. I've been doing that for the past like 2-3 months. Yeah. I would say to you as an artist, just so you know, you're your own category.
Yeah. And I believe
your own thing, and you don't need to be anything else. And I was just running through my head the artists I've been listening to, and they're not even like really great voices. You're a great voice, but it's not the reason like why I listen to them per se. It's just like their own unique delivery. So I would just say from a fan perspective, your own unique delivery is the reason why anyone would connect with your music. And I'm going to talk about it, but I was listening to like Circus and what's the other one? Wash Away. Like the reasons why I like the songs or the reason can't talk. The reason why I like those songs is because of the way you delivered it. And you did it. And if you listen to Halsey as well, like I do, like the themes of those songs, like she touches on them. So like, yes, they're things we've heard before and they're subjects we've talked about, but you talked about it, you sang about it in your own way, and I connected with it differently, and it felt new to me. It felt like a new experience.
That's wonderful.
So even though like it might touch on the same topic of another song that you and I like both really love, your delivery makes it special and it makes it its own thing. So don't worry about trying to deliver in a certain way because you are your own thing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like I embrace what I have when I'm writing. Like I write for my voice, and how I can express. But
oh, good. I'm glad. I just want to make sure.
No, I don't. No, because I have, because I don't also believe in. I don't believe in changing yourself to try and make in that way. Like but I think it's hard for you not to criticize yourself the way you have compassion for others. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I believe everything you're saying. I am 100% in on that. I believe it also for every single person expressing their voice in every way. But I, of course, have just judged my own voice sometimes. I'm at this base level, I'm accepting and embracing what it is, and that's what's coming to the music. But then this little peanut gallery side voice devil in the shoulder that's yeah, but it's not special like other people's, but this is what you have, and I think that's just it's the critique in your head, yeah.
And don't we all have those?
Exactly. Little peanut galleries.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think what got us off onto that funny tangent a little while ago, your album, High Priestess.
Yes, High Priestess. Yeah, actually, I wrote High Priestess, the song. But all around, I stopped doing that after that album, actually writing full songs. Because something I learned is I am extremely passionate about collaborating. It's just how I prefer creative brains and just to bring them all together. And then I have a vision, but I love that. And I just think amazing things have come out of it. And it's just everyone's work, the way they work is different. I've found my stride and preference is definitely collaboration. But yeah, High Priestess, I mean, just trying to think of the last time we played some of that music. I love that album. It was done in Chicago, and yeah, man, you're taking me back. I'm trying to remember
That's a perfect answer though, because I wanted to know what your takeaway was. And that's a great takeaway.
Something cool. I wasn't dreaming for 2 years where I could remember dreaming. I was having no dreams. Is also feeling very uninspired. And then when we went into the studio to do High Priestess, I started dreaming again. It was really wild. And I was telling Johnny K, the producer at that time, I'm I've started dreaming since I've been in your place. And that place was kind of wild. I felt like we were Batman or something, because he had this big brick building that was the whole building was his, and we were just like on different floors, but they were just open with sealed cement and then velvet furniture like in random spots. And then there's a pool table here on one level. Part of it was unfinished up top. He had a room of guitars because he collected guitars like stocks. He was like, he's gonna like sell them along the line, you know, as they appreciate. It was really interesting. But the guys had a great time too. We just had a really good time. And the artist that did the artwork for High Priestess was the tattoo artist that put a garter of Vivaldi around my leg on my left side. So that was kind of cool as well. And yeah, he was awesome. But that tattoo did not feel awesome. Really sensitive in the groin.
That's so special. That makes me, I love that story. So that makes me want to go listen to that one.
Yeah.
I love that. And then we have Prevail 1 and 2. So was this a double album or were they put out individually?
Yeah, there was a double album created all like in the same time period. And I'd really like gotten him in my head at that time because I was really like starting to get really into collaboration, you know? I was like, okay, what do you guys think if we go to the studio and do it like they did in the 70s and 80s, like where they were organically writing in the studio, all the songs. So they were like, not all the way for it, but like willing to try. Yasho is always, he's a very like free creative. He is into so many different kinds of creativity like outlets. So he was for it because he's just like a creative experiment, like let's go. But and he loves to write. But yeah, I liked Volbeat. I was really into Volbeat at that time, and I liked their production. And you know, because it was kind of like this like pop metal production sound that sounded like large and anthemic to me. And I was like, let's go for that. So that's why I reached out to Jacob Hansen to see if he would produce these albums. And then, you know, found out that he only works on site and he was in Ribe, Denmark. And that was really cool. So we were just there. Me and Yasho and Jake, who was also writing guitars at that time, we were all there for most of the whole duration together, and Marcus was there for not like half of the first part of it because once the drums were done he was out, but we were there for a while because we were writing and I wanted to see what happened if we organically did that. And then I really hung on to that. I did that again with the band for Evolution. I said, let's write it in the studio and see what happens. Yeah.
My first thought as a listener listening, isn't that expensive? That would just be a funny side question. I would wonder. I was like, I was just wondering like how that's financially possible at all to do. Like, how is that accomplishable? I just like if I was a listener, I would be wondering that.
Yeah, for sure. It's really hard. I mean, we weren't there for 8 months, but we were there for like 3 months or so, say like that. But first of all,
that's longer than typical. Like, yeah, so typically it's like a month in the studio, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So we tried to do it like I tried to definitely do it where, especially Evolution, learning with Prevail 1 and 2. We did come in with some ideas for Prevail 1 and 2 with the intention of most of it being organic. And then Evolution was quite organic. I'd say there was maybe 2 thought ideas that made it into the songs, but then the rest was created. And I really did it like the instruments were leaving as they were done. But yeah, I am one of those. I actually like say this out loud all the time to my husband because I stress myself out all the time. and I am not. I know that this is just an artist thing. Maybe not a musician thing necessarily. I don't relate to this with all people that do music, but I relate to this with people that just make art. I have dumped everything nonstop into making the art, and I have never recouped anything. And so I work separately from this, and I am just like, I say I'm insane all the time, but I'm not the only insane one. I just feel like so called to make things, and I haven't felt like I'm done yet, but I just keep pouring it in, and I don't really get much back in the way of that because of how much I pour into it.
Yeah.
I just care so deeply about what I'm making, and I'm a very like 1 to 100 kind of person. I can't really go half in with things. I get really hung up on making it the best it can be with how I know at least it can be, and trying to aim for that at least. So it's even like the same way with like videos, like the videos on this album that I just did, like to me, they were pieces of work. Like I like danced for like a year and a half to be able to do this little Michael Jackson kind of tribute in the end of one video. And it was like an elaborate work of art. The next video that's coming out, and it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I have spiraled a lot from this because I'm like, it's very insecure feeling all the time. And I always am, and also I'm like feeling sometimes like I would like to know what the feeling would be like to keep some of it for myself and just feel pride from that. But then there I go again, and I just like put it all into the art again, with this idea that I get.
And thank you for being so open and honest. I think it's a gift, and I think it's special. So it's really special, everything that you're sharing. So thank you for being so open and honest about everything.
Well, thank you for also asking these interesting questions. I am happy to be able to bring some light to them, because I just saw another person, like you're going to message me too about your thoughts and story on this. And I want to hear it, because it also, it always diffuses like the criticism that I put on myself for I must be nuts, like, because I have that in my head a lot of the time. I'm like, oh my God. And like, there, you did it again. No, just chill. And like, I just went all in for this single art. I was like, I want to make something really special that visually just evokes people for this Under One Sun that, oh shit, I just released the song. That's the song name. the next one. I was like, I want to have that. I want to feel like compassion, but like the huge warmth and like beauty and like feeling of the sun. And then the metaphor of also how like everyone deserves, like the sun is shining on them, So I just get these ideas and run with them. But I just saw another artist named Curly that makes these kind of installation outfits that she's wearing, and she directs her own videos and stuff. And she did this post one day that was like, when people think you're crazy because you put all of your resources into your art over. And I was like, oh my God, for you.
I cannot. Okay, so the last one, Evolution. I can't believe the songs on that album are so wildly deep that I cannot believe you weren't holding on to them for like 8 months. I can't believe you are such an artist of such a caliber. I don't have this. That's not up me. I'm not a musical artist. So it blows my mind that there are people in the world that exist like you, that you could just go into a studio and come up with songs like that.
You know what?
It blows my comprehension of like what's possible, because I had none of that, so I don't understand that. So the fact that like the songs on Evolution that you have, you created in the process of training, blows my mind of comprehension of what's possible.
You know what? I think it's like, so thank you. So for starters, the messages always exist before the songwriting starts. They like Evolution was, again, like my soul was turned inside out in that. So, and the things I was learning, and every song were things that I was learning about other people, experiences I was having, but it was also like relatable to me, So that's, I think, where it's not that I'm not a songwriter in the sense that I write for other people, or I just write for fun, or I come up with stuff. I only like Tommy creates all the time. There's a lot of prolific writers, and they write, and it can be meaningful, but they just write prolifically. I've never done that. Like, I just am more like in the way of, let's make something almost like a painter does, and then we're going to have an exhibition of it, and then it's going to be time to not do anything until the next great piece. And that's like how I do music. And it's not how everyone did music in my band, but it's how I do music. And so for Evolution, yeah, maybe the specific words for some of the things and the melodies, of course, were coming while we were there. And it's often the music relationship that I have. It's the relationship I have to the riff or the little thing that someone comes up with. It has to spark something. Otherwise, it doesn't make it into the songs. We have to feel things. I have to feel things. If I can feel the emotion of it, then the song starts to present itself. It can be a real struggle though. I find the studio time, for me at least, it's not a place of peace. It's a place of war internally, most of the time. And it's very stressful. But the messages already exist in me for what I want to say and what I need to say. So that's coming into it, in that zone that we get into. And those things are not on the spot. They're in my soul, in my knowing, Yeah.
And that's exactly why I love to do interviews, because you would never know that. And I've never really talked to an artist about that before, about it just because it exists in you and because you have that of you. That means that you can create that, when the moment arises for it. That's cool. And that's why I love doing interviews. I've never talked to an artist about that before. And that's right. That's such a cool concept. You've had a few concepts that you've said on this podcast I've just never heard before. And I was like, ooh, never heard that before. That was definitely different. That's cool. So let's just be fun real quick, in case internet hops in or out, who knows. But oh my God, I didn't know that you toured with everyone that you toured with. It is a mind-boggling list. And I feel like I know a bunch of artists who've done cool tours, but I don't know, seeing all the people that you've toured with makes, I don't know, it's incomprehensible that anyone else has toured with as many cool people as you have. So what are some of your favorites? Talk about, oh my gosh, talk about the artists you've toured with. Let's talk about those tours. Oh my God, you must have the cool stories.
Yeah, there's definitely some tours that meant a lot to me because they were full circle moments. The first bigger band that we ever supported, and it was really cool because they were playing with another band that was really awesome, legendary. It was Judas Priest with Saxon, and it was in the Apollo in London, which was a really, it's a very cool venue that has a lot of history. But Judas Priest was the first band I ever saw when I was in high school. My mom wanted to see them, and so my dad got tickets and took the family, and I didn't know who Judas Priest was at that time. I actually got into punk before metal, but that's another story. But I saw a place for my voice that wasn't operatic when I saw Halford singing, and I was like, huh, okay. Because I had actually stopped. I did classical music for so long, and then I had this couple-year hiatus. And then when I was 15, I saw it, Judas Priest, and I was like, whoa, okay, well, I can find a place for me again and use the training I've had, but I don't have to do, Nightwish style singing, and because it didn't feel right for me. So yeah, that was pretty great when we did that. And then I would say, there's so many good, they're all amazing, but I'm just gonna pick on like my inner like teenage excitement ones because those were probably just, they're just exciting for me personally. And that was definitely Sebastian Bach because I love Skid Row so much. Like I watched the Wembley Stadium, I think it's 1991 performance with Sebastian Bach in Skid Row, like doing monkey business and all that stuff, like in his leather pants, like no shirt, his crazy hair, just like stomping across the stage like wild. And I watched it like so many times. I was obsessed with it. And so that just also felt like, even though I'm not like doing that anymore, I'm not watching that like multiple times on YouTube every day. But I was like, this is amazing. Like I have loved him in like he meant something to me in that moment of time. So that was really cool. And that tour went really well for us too. We actually really, really did well together, like as a fit, especially with the new record. And yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I'm trying to like remember like some of the other ones that were pretty, like Steel Panther was really entertaining and they were just really nice guys, behind the stage, and they also like look totally different, some of them, when they're backstage, and it was awesome. That was really fun. Yeah. No, we've had a lot of really great tours. Yeah.
Yeah, Judas Priest is mainly like who I thought you would talk about and who I thought you would bring up. And I didn't know.
Oh my God.
What?
Sorry, I can't believe I didn't even mention this.
Oh, yeah.
The Kiss and Def Leppard tour, the 40th anniversary tour, through like amphitheaters and stuff.
Yeah.
That was insane. That was amazing. And honestly, like it was Def Leppard for me. Like I am a huge Def Leppard fan. And so I was just like stoked. And then I became a Kiss fan actually because we were on the tour with it, and I was like totally for the like 4D live experience that was happening every night. But it was so awesome. Like I still can feel the feelings right now if I just think about standing on the side after we play, and like the air is warm because it's summer. We played when the sun was setting, so we'd like die, and then they go on and like the sun be down. I'm sure they still died a bit from the heat, but like, they were in the dark and it was cozy, and like Phil and Viv's guitars like just like filled the air, and it was like, oh, like the most epic, simplest solos that were just made for the stadiums, and that was unbelievable. And I was really, really freaking present for that tour, probably more than any of the tours, because I was like, this may never happen again. I need to take in every second of this, and I did. Yeah.
So that's how I felt when I was 20. Like I had so many experiences when I was like, oh my God, I could die tomorrow and be great. And now I'm 35. But I remember feeling like if this never happens ever again, oh my God. And one of my first friends in music was Jerry Lowlife, who actually Jerry.
I love Jerry. He's the
yes.
best.
Jerry toured with you guys. He hooked me up for the Kiss show in Dallas for y'all. Like he got me tickets and passes for you guys because he was working for y'all.
Oh,
so I got I was just thinking when you were talking, I was like, where's my like sticker pass for it? Because he got me one for that show, and I was like, fuck, where is that? But that's funny.
That's so crazy. That's like 1 degree of separation all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's how
so cool.
That's how metal is. Yeah, like we all know someone. But Jerry was one of my first, I would say like top first 5 like really good like touring friends early on.
That's awesome. What
and I remember the tour you're talking about. I was like, hey, I went to that show.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow.
That's so funny.
We met Jerry on the Fear Factory tour. I think, didn't Jerry work at Fear Factory?
I think so. I don't think I knew, or maybe I did. I don't remember. I met him. Leave the Sky, Straight Line Stitch. It was this tiny, wonderful meeting of like great metal people. It was just like one of these special, special, special nights. where you like totally bond with like all these people and these people are your people. And I was living in a small town then.
Yeah.
And it was this it was this tiny, shitty, great show.
Yeah.
And I went and it was like, all these people are my people. And it was like,
that's so
I was
awesome.
like every single person in every single band, Bleed the Sky, Straight Line Stitch, another one. And it was like, and Jerry was like working for all of the bands on the bill. And it was just the best. And then I went to their show in Albuquerque the next day. I drove 4 hours, and that was just the best one. It's just like meeting, like sometimes when you go to shows, every reason why I was ostracized and made fun of in my normal life, I was like celebrated. And like people left me for in music. And that was definitely like one of those nights, meeting all those people and meeting Jerry. And I stayed like best friends with him for years.
That's beautiful.
Love metal, love shines, love stories.
Awesome.
So you just put out one single, and I love that you were talking about, we're allowed to change and we're allowed to evolve. We're allowed as people. And I don't understand fans for like, oh, it's not this, it's not that. And I like country and I like pop, because like Halsey is like kind of considered pop. So like I like pop music. I like rappers. We're allowed to like be more than just death metal, even though like I am death metal. I am metal. And when I get people talking shit to me like, oh, you're not rock, you're not metal, I'm like, I'm more metal than anything out there. Fuck you. Like, I am metal. Fuck you. I can be metal and still like different things. So you're allowed to evolve. So you put out this new song because it's your own creation. You're allowed to be who you are in the moment. And I think that's why you said you put out your own solo song. So is there an entire album coming from that song?
Yeah, but it sounds nothing like that song. That's the wild thing.
Oh, okay.
Like no one can ever guess what's coming around the corner. And there's also like a disruption track on there that I think is gonna put some waves across the whatever, for people. It's actually yeah, it's pretty wild. It's like it's poppy, but it's also Nine Inch Nailsy in some ways. It's very, very cool, but it's definitely gonna piss some people off, and some people are gonna feel empowered. But I'm so excited to put it out. And the next one that's coming, so we have 3 more singles. All three are gonna have music videos, and then the album is launching on April 5th, 2024. But it's been finished since 2021. I just had a mental health crisis for a year, so I couldn't I just wasn't functioning like at all. But now I have been able to get back on track enough to start preparing the launch and back in the world like this year. So that's really, really great. But yeah, the next song is folky, so it'll be interesting to see if you enjoy it. But it's really about resilience. There's a lot of divine feminine energy behind it, and yeah, it's also about healing and being able to move on with the things that also hurt you, like to coexist. And yeah, it's really wonderful. That's the one that, there's 2 videos so far that I've done, and I just put a lot into the visuals as well. There's a wolf dog in the next music video, and he's the cutest.
I love that.
Yeah.
That I would say coexisting with some pain is like something I resonate with right now. So I can't wait to hear that song.
Awesome. November
Can't wait.
16th or 18th. They haven't decided the day yet. I have some people that I'm working with helping me with just, trying to make the most of it, launching it as best we can, because I'm independent. And in a lot of ways, this has been like starting over. I haven't carried the legacy over with me. It's been interesting. I have a very small and mighty group of people that are just so positive, more positive than I would have imagined, that are riding with me for the ride. But for the most part, I'm really like starting as like a very small independent artist. And that's been very humbling, scary. And because I sometimes wonder if the past is, like, what did you do everything for also? But then I would never erase the bodies of work. But what I do think about is all the experiences and also sacrifices that came with the lifestyle. Yeah, it's been interesting. So I don't know, what will come of this, but I am very proud of it. And I'm proud of and honored to have been able to work with all the people I've worked with together on all the pieces. Um, and yeah, it's nice that it's gonna just live in time. I love that.
Well, that's exciting. And I can't wait because that's right where I feel right now. So as a fan, thank you for making that song. I can't wait to hear the new single. I know it's going to help me. I know it will.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited for the album. So it's so awesome.
Thank you so much.
Will you put together an independent, it's all independent. So will you, once you release everything, do you think you'll tour the US again? Maybe.
I hope so. I would really like to. I miss like connecting that way, for sure. And I found it actually like really hard when everyone returned to touring and I didn't return. But I also knew I wasn't healthy enough to even be thinking about it yet. And my husband went back on the road. He's like back to full-time touring, and but now I'm like in a place of peace with this is how it's supposed to be, but I really hope to tour next year with it. And one thing I wanted to say about the album is like a big thing with me in this album too is for whoever, even if it's one person, decides that because they saw me do what I needed to do and do something different, that it gives them enough like courage to do what they need to do, to be who they are, to express what they need to express, to just have that kind of like radical self-embracing, because I am definitely, as the songs come out, it's pretty, this first song is the closest it will be to people recognizing the past. So I was very scared at what people were going to think and the bullies 2 years ago. Now I've had like 2 years of working, like letting that go. I don't care anymore. That's not living, and it's keeping yourself small too, right? And limited. And you're not living for that opinion. You're living for yourself. And it's like that, like really cliche saying that says like, when you let yourself shine, you allow space for others to shine. It's like it gives permission for other people to do their thing. That's like really, really part of what I'm trying to also like put out with this, because I do know there's some people that I've met like that maybe they want to show a softer side. For instance, I'm just making up an example, but they want to do something softer, more poppier on this outside of what people have known them to be, but they don't want to damage their reputation. They don't want to damage the momentum they're perceiving as growing. But that could be even more successful for them. Who knows? But more so, they will be healthier for it. They will be more well, and whole feeling. I am more whole feeling by like doing this for myself.